Esther.
I'm Nick.
And we are Fouch Family Off-Grid. We haven't done this in a while, just sitting down to say hello to everybody and give some details on what it's like from here.
Hello.
I haven't wanted to show my face because I was behind on our build videos. But I am officially caught up.
And yeah, I guess I was building and you were editing. So that takes some time. I'm still building. We're gonna move forward, but we did sit down for at least a day.
Well, the snow came.
Yeah.
Winter had to come in eventually to our winter building project.
Right. It has been sort of a weird winter. We haven't had the snowpack that we saw last year. So that's been good for projects, but probably bad for our water supply later on. But I'm also getting better at covering up for the weather. So even though the snow came, it didn't ruin anything. We're able to take tarps off and keep going.
So we have this moment between the push on the roof and the push on getting dried in on our little mudroom addition for us to hang out. And someone has asked, actually a couple people have asked about how we plan. We thought that was a great topic for today because we're basically rocking it at the moment. And that isn't always true. So this is a great moment for us to fill you in on the details of our life, but also on how we plan our projects and keep them moving forward. So let's look at our lists. Last week's goal was to do the roofing on the mudroom.
Yep. And we sort of listed out the various parts of that, the drip edge and the paper and the metal and all of that stuff. But it sort of just happened in, I don't know, a day and a half or 2 days' time.
And Nick also had to design the windows, getting some design input from me.
Right. So we're working from reclaimed windows that we have from various sources. And I have those in just an inventory list, and I'm able to move them around in my drawing and show what it's going to look like in the end. And we have decided on something, and that design work is considered complete.
And the last thing on that list was to prepare the material for framing the mudroom.
Right. That came from the slabs that came off of milling the posts and beams. After I'm done doing posts and beams, I throw all of those slabs back onto the mill and just run it all at a consistent thickness. In this case, it was just shy of 1.5 inches. This material can be kind of thinnish. It's not load bearing at all. And so I dry it like that in wide slabs with live edges. And then when I take the stack apart, when I consider it dry, then I work to make straight boards out of it. I've had much better luck doing that than trying to mill 2x4s on the mill. They just don't dry as flat, and my mill is kind of inaccurate on those narrow cuts. So I got it out of the stack, did the 2 processes that it takes, and got a stack of wood waiting for me under a snowy tarp.
And that was last week's list. Ba-boom.
There it is.
So this week's list.
What is it? Oh,
You better.
I know the list. So we're working to get the mudroom dried in, which is sort of the state at which our house stayed for 6 or 8 months or something, between getting all of the, framing in the walls, getting the house wrap on and everything. And there it stood for a long time, over an entire winter, and then some. The mudroom will not sit that long because I believe we're going to move right on to making it pretty. So dried in consists of framing those walls, getting the sheathing on, the plywood, doing the house wrap and ice and water shield, and then installing the windows. We're holding off on the door, on the front door of the house, because I believe I'm going to make a set of doors for that front door and then the now front door of the house, so that they're a matching set made from, you know, our stuff. And the door that's on the front of the house right now, it's nice, but it's a second-hand door that I've had to repair and sort of struggle with because it's not, like, it's been trimmed out of square and everything. So.
And it just isn't his design and his aesthetic. So
Sure.
it is a beautiful door, but it kind of stands out as a door that somebody else made in this space where everything else is Nick made. So I'm pretty excited to see some doors made from our own wood, from our own trees.
Yep, and that might be a slow process, only because you really want to be working with dry material for that. I have some slabs milled up that would be awesome for doors, provided that they're dry enough, but I don't know that they are yet. So we will be doorless for a little while, but the overhang on the front of the mudroom is such that really it's not a big deal. I mean, it won't stay warm exactly, but it'll stay dry.
So we're cooking, we're rocking it, we're moving really fast through this project. And actually, I should clarify that we're not moving at like commercial rate fast.
Right, we're not. Yeah, as far as an industry standard goes, I think we're a snail's pace. But for us and for the way that we want to do it, it's great. I mean, it's just one thing after another. It doesn't sit for too long in any state, and that's all you can ask for. Especially building in the middle of January, I think we're doing pretty good.
And we're finding a rate that's sustainable, something that we can maintain over time, rather than having one crazy burst where Nick works until 2 o'clock in the morning and then needs to sleep for a week afterward. Trying to make, and I think succeeding at making a life of it, of making progress and really making the homestead that we want ongoing.
Yeah, absolutely. And living our life in between, you know, eating good meals and going to bed on time and not stressing anybody out.
Yeah.
I will be really happy when the tool shed the little 8x12 tool shed that I've had for a long time is replaced by a 16x40 workshop. But that is one of those long-range goals that we just have to chip away at.
I feel like I was raised as a millennial here in the United States with the idea that the things you want and the things you have to do are different. Okay, so if you want to, like, you go to work during the day and then you have your fun after you go to work. And so that kind of functionality, that being able to produce things, is really separate from what you want.
Right. It's sort of the side interest, but using somebody else's money. Like, using the money that you earn at a job to go and do the thing that it's just extractive, and I don't know. It's a poor model for happiness.
Yeah, but I think that with some of the work that we've done over the winter, last fall, and this winter now, is about saying, what do we really want to be doing? Those big picture goals. We worked with a book by Alan Savory called Holistic Management, making these big picture goals for our life. What do we want? We want to have healthy land that sustains us. We want to be able to provide for ourselves and our children. We want to be able to make lasting, meaningful contributions to the world outside of our family. And you make those big picture goals, and then you say, okay, so what do we need to sustain those goals? What are the things that we need? And it just so clearly was the shop. So, okay, so to meet those particular goals, Nick needs to have the ability to make things and sell them, give them in exchange to people who then can give us something that helps to support our lives. Likewise, we need to have that garden. We need to have food growing. And I need to do some kind of art. I need to be doing YouTube, or I need to be writing books. because that's what my passion is, and that's how I can meet those goals. And you start to see that and go, oh, this isn't a division between what I want to do and what I have to do. There is a way for those two things to be the same thing. You just have to go through the steps to build that infrastructure.
Absolutely, and you can start to see how one connects to the other, and the other feeds into that, and it can all coexist. I think part of it is that we've sort of pared down the number of things that we're trying to do. So our focus is a little better, and I think when you do that, then you're able to see successes more readily, and when you see the successes, then that makes your next endeavor probably more successful. So we're not spread out quite so much, fewer animals, fewer projects, and I think part of that is the winter, in that we're able to just move forward on a couple of things during the winter, but also it's just choices, just choosing a couple of things to really rock at, and then enjoying the success of those.
I think those who have followed us for a while can really see that happen. It's a positive thing, and also kind of a disadvantage that we have so many interests and various talents, because I, especially in the spring, get lost. I get overloaded because there are so many things that I want to do, and here it is April and all the projects are available to me, and this past year I just didn't do any of them. So I think there is a gift to the limitations of the winter, but also we're learning to just decide, as he's saying, just make those choices, just decide. You can't do it all, and one of our phrases this year that we're using is stay the course. And that's the anti-shiny things.
Right, just not getting distracted, but also not getting disappointed or, discouraged when something is kind of difficult, So if it's on the list, you got to do it.
And then you get to check it off. And I think that is one of the things that's giving us a lot of momentum right now, is that every single week we discuss together what we're doing. We have our list someplace where we can see it. We don't necessarily check off each thing as we do it, but we have a tangible, visible record of our accomplishments. And each accomplishment builds on itself, and you start to feel like you could do anything. Hey, we can build stuff. We can do a garden. And that confidence makes a big difference when you're trying to do hard things.
Right, and all it takes is identifying the parts and writing them down in colorful magic markers.
Well, the markers are a special touch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably not essential.
So those weekly lists go in the middle of our big board. The big board has bigger projects sort of organized by zones, or not strictly zones moving out away from the house, but the different areas of our property and the different large-scale projects that we have going on. And what are there? There's 8 different things on the board, and then in the middle is the weekly list, and we have them prioritized. And right now, our Zone 1, or our house projects, are in the upper left corner, and that's the priority spot. So we're still able to kind of see all of the things that we're not doing at the moment, but I think that just seeing them really helps out.
Last January, I was doing skills and planning on my other channel, and I was showing everybody my homestead binder. And I do still have the homestead binder as a place where I keep recipes and information and research and everything. But the homestead binder is no longer where we're keeping our goals and plans, because it became my kind of...
It became your marker book.
My marker book. I do like markering.
Right. Where she would go and she'd make lists and she'd make calendars, and I wouldn't really see it very much. So we came up with a different format that we can both contribute to and both see all the time, and it keeps us on the same page as to, you know, how each other is spending their time, but also makes you accountable for how you're supposed to be spending your time.
And again, those big picture goals are a big part of this. So if you want this to work when you have multiple departments, multiple humans, and you want to be able to be really invested in each other's work, those big picture goals are so helpful. I did not want to help Nick build a shop, honestly. And I had to look at the goals and say, oh, but I do want all the things that are on the other side of that.
Right.
And then helping Nick build the shop has been really important for me because I find out things that I'm capable of I didn't realize. I'm stronger than I thought I was. I'm more able to handle construction than I thought I was. I'm more able to understand engineering than I thought I was. And I'm having more fun than I thought I would have. And that's I think, that holistic picture of saying, okay, if I were just doing things that I feel like doing, I wouldn't have ended up with this level of enjoyment or appreciation for the whole picture.
Yeah, I mean, we often say humans are naturally lazy, but we're also really prone to sort of habits or staying within our comfort zone. So I think having some stuff on the list that we're not super thrilled about, but is a necessity, you know, it helps. It's eating your vegetables.
Yeah, I want to tell a story about that humans are naturally lazy thing. We do say that, and I say it occasionally when we have to do chores with the kids. We do chores at a certain time, and we do chores every day, and the reason we do that is because humans are naturally lazy. Well, when we were cleaning up wood, huge project to clean up all of the slash after the trees came down this fall, Milo and I were finishing up a project, and I had given the speech, you know, we have to do this, humans are naturally lazy. And we were finishing one of our sheets. We have these half sheets that we do, sub-projects under the big projects. We were finishing up a sheet because it was the last bit of cleanup around the broken woodshed. And so we got to go up to the house and mark it off. And I think it was Stella who said, you should write accomplished. And I said, I'm just going to write done. It's shorter. And Milo said, I guess humans are naturally lazy. It's only 7 more letters, Mom. So that's the stage of parenting we're at.
Absolutely. Where it's getting thrown back at us.
Yeah, we have the kid police now for our values. It's good. It's healthy.
Good. We're all accountable to each other.
Yeah. And that, I think, is another reason that we are making so much progress right now. So just in summary, why is 2018 our year? It's our year. We're rocking it right now because we're on the same page, because we have big picture goals which are motivating, and they may seem a little squishy, a little like fairies and rainbows to talk about, oh, sure, we want to make a meaningful contribution to the world and we want to be able to be supporting ourselves, but those big picture things are the things that we share. Yeah. And so that's really important to have those. And then the third thing that's happening to us is just a natural progression of a family. Our kids are a little bigger. Mm-hmm. I didn't have my hands a couple of years ago. Right. I had a baby in them. And so the last couple of months have been so fun for me because my kids they're not only not limiting my ability to move around, but they're actually another person working.
Absolutely. Milo carrying plywood is an example.
Yeah. So that's going to give us rocket shoes.
Absolutely. So it's a good time to sort of make big goals and see what we can do to achieve them.
Another thing that Nick and I are much more on the same page about this year is YouTube. The fact that we're both sitting here and talking to you is another example of something that we're invested in doing together.
Absolutely. I have certainly dragged my feet when it comes to being on camera. It's not my favoriteest thing. It's sort of my vegetables. But I'm into it. I'm glad people get something out of it, and I'm glad that we get something out of it, and it's totally worth doing.
And we're putting ads on our videos.
There you go.
So Nick kind of drew that line, and I think it's a good line, that if he's going to show up and make all these videos, then we're putting ads on them. And that actually, it does make sense for to me, the amount of effort and quality that's going into our YouTube channel right now. It's a part for us of living the life we want in a way that supports the life we want. And I think it's nice actually that we've come to this point, because it does feel like that decision has integrity now. It does feel like that makes sense, and there's something being offered, and there's something in return, and it feels honest.
Right, and it's a good point in our sort of progression here to do that, because we're really comfortable with what we do and don't do on camera, I guess. Mm-hmm. So we're still not really selling anything or trying to convince anybody of anything or putting on a show. We're just trying to do what we do here and keep going. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with us today. We're Fouch Family Off Grid.
See you next time.
Boo, turn you into turn you into a couch potato. A couch potato is an animal. It's a lazy human on the couch.
No, an animal, not a human. It didn't work, Milo. They only work for animals. Yeah, I don't want to be a couch potato.